just paint the picture. You're a young man, and the time of the record hops. Tell us a wee bit what life was like. There was very little going for people in those days, but tell us what life was like in, I don't know what, the late 50s, early 60s.
Early 60s.
Whenever you'd have been doing the record hops up in the
Forsters.
the wee hall.
Forsters Hall. We started the Forsters for that reason. We formed the INF branch with Robert Cranston from Ballinacally. That's where he was from.
And the Fosters was up in Barrack Street, no?
John Donaghy owned the hall. It was a Nissan hut.
Right.
So we got together and formed the INF, but John Joe O'Neill, God rest him, and Sean Campbell, God rest him, was Fifi Sean. Was Maury Treason McKee. And Tommy McGuinness, and he's dead too. This is all fucking dead people out there.
Well, you've got good genes.
No.
Finbar.
However, we had no idea about what the INF stood for. I couldn't even tell you what it stood for. I have all the regalia in the house belonging to them. I have the Chief Ranger, the Sub Chief Ranger, and the Secretary's sashes.
We'll dress you up in it.
And I know, I wasn't really here, but there was a man came to me last year, Eddie McAnally. You know, he's high into that old fucking shit. And he came to me looking at this stuff, and I said, I have sashes, so which I had, but I don't have the kind of sashes you're looking. He was looking at the ones I'm after mentioning there. And the boys came out to do our heating in the house not long ago, and the attic had to be cleaned out, complete and utter, and there was bags everywhere. And I didn't know what was in half of them, you know, and you take your nosy in here and your nosy in there, and I threw this out or keep that, I threw that. And I opens this black bag and out comes all these sashes. And you know, on my mum and father's life, they're dead and buried, and I couldn't tell you where I got them. And I wasted them and hung them out on the line and I have them in the house now. But that's where they come from the INF in Culloden. But that's not the story of what I say. We got the old hall, John Donaghy let us back into the hall and all that there, we formed the whole thing, and what a nonsense way it was. But our idea was, you know, get a bit of music going, you know, blah blah, and a Sunday afternoon, 3 to 6 o'clock. So one of the Daisy Manning, the Observer office, with no money, we asked them for a radiogram. That's when you played 10 records on it. That was the thing then at that time. And Jim Daly gave us a bit of amplification, and Daisy Day wired it up for us, you know, so it was coming through the speakers. Jim Daly couldn't do it, and ran out and it could be. And John Joe and me done the DJs on the stage. He loved it, like, you know, but I would do all the talking. He wouldn't talk, but he'd do all the movements, you know. And that thing took off. I lifted off right away from day one. It was packed every Sunday. We had the radiogram paid for in less than a month. And Don Bigley, you know, Bigley Sports now, he worked in the shop then, and he was a bus driver then as well. And Father McCourt, who went on to be Father McCourt, he was just a worker in the Observer office at that time, Aloysius McCourt. With a school of my uncle Aloysius O'Reilly, but he never would comment on that. But say we got that going, and then later on down the road we started running dances in it. Well, in between times we done the hall up, put in a new maple floor and all. James McGuinness up there, and I think it was Oliver was with him. We put in this maple floor and all into the place, you know. And then we brought the Ronnie Griffiths and the Clipper Aces from Monaghan, and they won Friday night.
But was that the start of your relationship with bands?
Oh no, my relationship started before that with the Procol Committee. They said people that came there, Sean and John Joe and myself.
But where was the Procol Committee? But the Procol Committee at that stage were only running Cardiff, they weren't running in the hall.
No, but we clearly run the Procol Committee for, I don't know how long, and finally we managed to get in. All we were looking was the street spas at the end of the dances. You had to do the cloakroom, you had to sell lemonade, whatever. And before that all started, you had to walk around the amusements, the real amusements was there, and you had to do this and do that for amusement people. But then we get into the dances, that's all we were looking. Got to know the bands and all that old stuff. It all worked for us, like, you know. And then you won't go to bed all hours, which I'm still doing. Night owl. I'm not longer out of bed there, incidentally.
Well, I knew you were night owl. I was warned not to phone you in the morning, but I knew that anyway.
Oh well.
But then you progressed. But did you still do the hops, or did you just move over completely then to the bands?
No, we kept the old hops going for I went right wee distance, but
are we in the Procol Centre now, or the
garage? No, we're still up in the
Fosters.
And the boxing club played their own against us in the Hib Hall. They played their own dances against us. They lost every time, like, unfortunately, you know, they were no brainer. but we were winning all the way. And then Frank Nugent, he had the Mullah Slim going. He started running dances during Lent. So we decided we'd have a go at this too. So we got the Clancy Bros and the Moy, Johnny Peckgreen, Clipper Races again there. Oh, who else? Didn't have even there's a reaction. Didn't bring them in. They were rubbish. Oh, fuck. I think that was about the calibre stuff we used there.
But how far travel would these bands have been? Were these relatively local, like you're talking as far as Monaghan or something?
Well, Clipper Racer were from Monaghan, Johnny Peckgreen was from the Moy, Clancy Bros were from the Clancy Bros were good. That was,
Brenton and Leo connection. Brenton was...
Brenton didn't play, what do you call the master?
Leo.
Leo
Didn't play, but Brenton did.
Brenton played in it, aye.
Aye.
And another bro, Eugene and, what do you call the other guy? Pat.
Aye.
They both went to America.
They were very good.
Ah, they were class.
Good singers and everything. But
Brilliant. But we started running the dances during Lent, you know, and it became a success. But Father Walsh came down one night, and the Beret and all on him. And I just happened to be outside at this particular time. And he phoned me and about running dances during Lent and how wrong it was and whatever. And I said, hang on a minute here, Father, what are you talking to me for? Like that there? I was like young and all that there. And I wasn't being belittling the priest or anything like that, you know, because I wasn't brought up that way. And I says, tell you what, I'd bring you in there to that hall, and there's 300 or 400 people in there, and you get up on the stage and you tell them what you're telling me, and see what the reaction you get. Oh no, I couldn't do that. I said, what are you telling me for? And I said, it's a way up the road there, Frank Nugent and Mullah Slynn. I said, we saw it in the paper, and I know who he was. And I said, nobody attacking him up around there. Father Donnelly's in Carrickmore, I bet you he's not saying anything, tell him. Which he didn't. But Frank Nugent would have took my head clean off your body. I said, I ain't telling you. You're messing on by. McDullaghanty played it one night, on a Thursday night. And Sean drove me and a few hours in the town here was at it. And McDullaghanty, on the stage way, he announced, he said, I played to some crowds of people and some different kinds of people, but this is the first time I've ever played to a bunch of Indians. I'll never be back in this building. And he got out of our life too.
But it was rough. It was
primitive.
It's beyond primitive.
Deadly.
I'd never went near it. I was terrified to go near it.
I went to it pretty often now. I did. Kenny Ball played in it.
Did I?
He did buy out the picture in the house.
God.
It wasn't talking about Mullah Slynn, but picture.
But he did play in it.
He played it, and now he was at it, and he gave me this picture.
I saw Ray Overson in Carrickmore.
Were you not in Carrickmore, eh?
Oh, was it? I saw Ray Overson in Carrickmore.
Oh, right, Carrickmore was a good
He was very poor. He never had a high note.
No,
but he's probably done about 3 or 4 shows that night.
I
He's probably going then home and then somewhere else.
I never went to them in the commercial round. I had a free pass for the commercial, but I just didn't go. And I went to the Jamaican one that ran a show in the ABC in Belfast and whatever, and I went to that. He was good at it now. Jim 40.
But that's
Jim
probably
40
just one show, you see. Remember the package too? Well then, Finbar, like, how long did that last? You know, you're talking into you see, well, to my recollection then you'd have been into, you'd have been into the garage and all then. When did that start? When did the transformation come where your venue was then became the garage? Well, John Bourne started the garage.
They rented a floor, a maple floor from a fella called Donald Quinn who used to put the marquees up for the parochial. Right? And they hired the floor in and put it into the garage. That's how they got the floor in, and stuff like that there. I think the Pirates bought that in about 64, didn't they? The Silver Band ran it in the 60s, you know.